you doing? Trying to get this turned off here.
Woo! I think we had it running on all cylinders there.
I think we
Woo!
did.
Yeah, I think we had it
Having
on
fun there.
multiple there.
How you
Yes,
doing?
I forgot to mute us on our other one, so we were
Oh
looping.
dear.
But you know what? What a great song to loop.
I know. If we're
Oh,
gonna loop, let's loop right.
oh, don't you just love the beat to that?
I do. It's infectious. It's
I
infectious. You
was
choose
thinking,
good songs at the opening, you know?
yeah, I try to promote the Kiffness,
Mm,
The
yeah.
Kiffness is good. I like him. Also, he's a great cat lover, as are you and I.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. My Sasha's over in
Now,
the window right now. She may walk over.
now, wonderful. Now, how are you enjoying the new book we have? Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's me, Whimsy, with the amazing Chuck
Chuck.
Dransfield, and we just arrived. We listened to we grooved a little bit on Kiffness, and
Kiffness.
now, yes, and Chuck and I have just started. He and I have similar reading taste. I definitely wouldn't you say 100% you and I read the same books?
I think so. So far,
Yeah.
we've been total concurrence.
Hmm. What do
Yeah.
you think of the latest book?
Well,
Mhm.
got mine
You got
here.
your copy. You did.
I
Uh-huh.
just
You
got my
please go
copy
ahead.
yesterday. I just got it yesterday, so I haven't had a
Uh-huh.
chance to start yet, but I'm going to begin. It looks quite intriguing.
Okay, so let's get started with the conversations. If you've just decided to join us, please have a seat. Please like, share, and think about becoming a member. It's a great way of supporting
Yeah.
Chuck and I. We love to get together and talk about cool topics, be silly. This is basically romper room for adults. I've always, I'll tell you, ever since I was a little kid, I always loved having a play area where my friends could come and put on costumes and play and sing
Yeah.
songs and have fun. And that's basically what
hmm
we've done here.
hmm I always loved
Okay.
her magic mirror. I see Becky. I see Tommy. Remember that? Well, you're right. We're kind of doing that right now with all the people out there. And Whimsy,
Right.
because I work as your assistant, a lot of these people I have called and I have talked to on the phone. So I know these people. So it's more than
Yes,
just
yes,
that
you
fake magic
do.
mirror. And I see here, yes, so it said they sent an email to me but didn't hear. Oh, I apologize for that. I will check my emails. I might have overlooked that. I do apologize. I'll check as soon as the show is over.
Yeah. Now, Chuck is also a trance medium. He is a professionally trained artist. And when he trances, he communicates with the souls of the people he paints, both alive and deceased. So, in a way, I would say you're a trance medium as well, which brings me to the first conversation we're going to have today on Taco Tuesdays. And that
Okay.
is about the subject of our book of the month, which is about hauntings and about this idea of connecting with people who either are trapped in time or maybe it's a loop. What is going on? But this particular
Yeah.
book, which was written by Audrey Steidl, she's an ordinary person, but she is an actor. So my first question to you, she's a regular person who goes to England and has supernatural experiences. My first question to you is, Chuck, are actors psychic? And that's an honest question.
Well, I do know this when I studied acting with Dee Wallace. That was basically our technique, was to channel. We had to channel emotions and feelings. Dee was very much about not preparing beforehand, to just read the scene cold. And it was also about being able to connect with your partner, to be able to look in their eyes and know what they were thinking, to know what they were feeling, to react off of that. So from my experience, yes, I think a good actor does need to have a certain amount of psychic ability, if you want to call it that, or certainly strong intuitive senses and abilities to read energy. So yes, that
Mm-hmm.
would be psychic.
All right. And then my next question is, do you think a certain type of person is more likely to have psychic experiences?
I think certainly someone who is more in tune to themselves, someone who's able to quiet themselves, quiet their mind. I think those are essential things to channeling and receiving. So yes, that would be the type of person, in my opinion, be that.
Well, let's go ahead and let's turn the camera to the audience, see what they have to say, and if they have an opinion. Chuck, what are people saying?
Well, let's see here. Leah said, yes, I remember we had that magic mirror in Australia. I didn't know Romper Room was in Australia. And we have good morning from Sydney. Kitty is saying happy Tuesday from Colorado. The Copper Broom says it's a party. Yes, it is. This is like a party we have every Tuesday. Lots of nice hellos here from Rush and Yolanda, from Kay. Let's see here. I don't see any questions just yet. Anybody like to ask us anything?
Well, Joel Tilson is saying that actors are channels. So
yes, that's basically what I was saying. That was the technique Dee taught us. She said when actors get up in their heads, like people have this idea, you got to take a script and you got to break it down word for word, line by line. Okay, I put emotion here. She said that's death. You want it to be alive. You want it to be in the moment. You want to just receive from the universe. So yes, an actor, as Kitty said, I've always thought that actors had to be empathetic in order to become someone else on stage. Absolutely. You're tapping into that energy field. And I can relate to that as an artist. I tap into energy fields when I'm doing a portrait to capture that aura, what's in their eyes, that look. I also write, and I know writing, you're tapping into energy fields. So it's like the golden thread that ties all the arts together.
Yeah. Have you been keeping up with the news at all? Not to change subjects, not to bounce away. But anyway, before we move on, that's the book. It is about psychic phenomenon. It is about ghost. We're looking forward to everybody reading it.
I'm looking forward to this very much.
And yeah, that was my big question, because I think she was a sensitive person, an empathic person. I guess that's what I was looking for, that actors tend to be shockingly empathetic and highly imaginative, like children.
Yes.
But
that
not
was the other thing I was taught.
Oh, go ahead.
We were taught, get in the sandbox and play. Just play. As Dee used to say to us, it's not brain surgery. Get in the sandbox, just play, have fun. Let the channel take over. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Sorry.
Well, that's powerful. No, you're doing your job. You're doing great, because you're the actor. I took a few acting classes here and there, but you're far more better trained than me.
Oh, but I bet you were fabulous in acting class.
Oh no, I was
charismatic.
Oh no, I was so shy that I could barely I'm too shy to be an actor.
But you know what? Most actors are very shy people.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the fact that the GOP is having a meltdown as we speak.
A conniption fit.
Okay. What have you heard? What's the word on the street?
The word on the street. Well, you're right. They're having meltdowns. They're having conniption fits. They're what are some of the things they're saying? They're calling this
Spill the tea.
They're calling this their George Floyd moment. They're comparing Donald Trump. His supporters. They're comparing him to Nelson Mandela.
Dear me.
Trump's own thing about how they wouldn't do this to Mother Teresa, or what was it he said? And then but then Mother Teresa wasn't paying off porn stars, with hush money. It's just absurd. It's just, I mean, I come from a little town back east, and I'm not denigrating my hometown in any way or the people, but needless to say, I'm Facebook friends with a lot, and almost all of them are Trump supporters. And yes, there's a reason I moved 3,000 miles away.
Oh my goodness.
I just don't understand it. Yeah.
Wow. So what's your predictions? Maybe we should do the empath's prayer, but I don't think this is going to go well for the Republicans.
You don't think so? You think
Okay,
you're just
we
a
got
little
that.
desperate?
We're you know what? I got so many emails from people. God bless you all. I love you all. Thank you, everyone who sends emails about hot topics and subjects to cover. Yes, yes to everybody. And those who don't email me will send messages on the feed. Trust me, I read everything. Okay, they want to get to the meet and greet. They want to talk about Marjorie
Oh,
Taylor Greene having
oh,
a
our
nervous.
old friend. Don't you
I
just
got
love
so.
her?
You know how many comments I got on this? It may be 100. I don't know. You want to talk about this?
Yeah, why
First off,
not?
tell the audience those people who don't know what happened. Could you please? You want to tell them what
Oh,
happened? What
well,
happened?
Marjorie Taylor Greene. What was the hearing? What was it
It
yesterday
was
with Dr.
Fauci. It was
Fauci?
Fauci. Yeah, it was a congressional hearing. Yes,
And she was refusing to even call him doctor. And whoever was
right.
head of the committee said, "I have instructed you to call him doctor." Well, I'm not calling him doctor. You know, I mean, she's a lunatic. She's such an embarrassment. But I can't believe they're doing this to Dr. Fauci right now. I mean, this man should be treated as a hero, in my opinion.
Well, I think the deeper question I have for you, and I guess we'll put it out to the entire audience,
Yeah.
is what does this say about MAGA that she is becoming increasingly isolated?
Um, I I would like to think they want to disassociate themselves from her. I mean, she's just an embarrassment. But then there's so many things with the Republicans I don't understand. The way they still are throwing their loyalty toward Trump, a convicted
Right.
felon, and they're still standing behind him with the comments. And I don't know how many people are still standing behind her, but I would like to think they want to disassociate. Yeah,
Okay, my question to you is, because you come from that part of the world, what percentage of the people truly believe that he was convicted as part of a Democratic conspiracy? I'm just curious.
well, from
What do
my
you
part of the world,
think?
you
Yeah,
mean my
yeah,
hometown area? And
well, you're
again, I don't
from
want
you're
to,
well, you're
I don't
from
want to denigrate
Virginia,
my
right?
hometown.
Where are you from?
Yes,
Where
I
are
am.
you from? Yeah, so
Um,
are you from
I don't
like
want,
the Appalachians?
yes, the southwestern part of Virginia. I just don't want to badmouth my hometown. I'm trying to be
Oh, no,
careful
no,
with my
no, no,
language,
no.
but
Where
yeah.
we don't that's not our, that's not who we are.
Oh, I
My
know that.
question
I
is
know that.
more a demographic to try and find out if you were to poll the average person in that community, do they
Well,
think, what do they think about his conviction? That he earned it or that he's a victim?
there's a victim. I
I don't
mean,
know.
I know this is hardly scientific and it's hardly an official poll. I'm just going by what I see on Facebook, all the people I grew up with, people I know in that community. Everybody stands behind him. And there seems to be this consensus that, yes, he's a victim, that this is a smear campaign from Biden, poor Donald Trump, how unfair it is to him, so forth, so forth. So, yeah, I would say my guess would be if you did an official poll in that area, and it's not just that area. I think if you go all throughout the South, Midwest, there's certain all those red state areas. I have a feeling a lot of them would still say that about him. I don't know. I haven't. Have you seen any official polls since Donald Trump's 34 convictions?
I definitely think we're looking at civil war. I think, again, we can check and see. I don't know what people are saying. We can check the messages, but it looks to me, I'd like to hear what other people have to say, frankly, but I can't
Yeah.
imagine there isn't some brewing intense civil war that's going to take place on the floor of the GOP. And blaming
Yeah.
Democrats is not what they need to be doing right now. That's not going to help them
No,
save
not
their
at all.
seats.
No, it's going to backfire badly, I think. But, we had one comment here from Jill. How can Trump run for president when there are states in the United States that do not allow convicted felons to run for office? I've wondered about that myself because I understand there are states where that is allowed. I think California is one of the states where someone convicted of a felony cannot be on the ballot. I could be wrong on that, but it seems to be the newer states, like California as opposed to the older states like back east, the original 13 colonies, where they have older laws in place. I'm wondering how that's going to work out on the whole, because supposedly aren't there? I'm sorry, you interrupted me.
I just noticed Ella S is from Great Britain, and she has a different take on things. She actually says that reading about Trump in the UK, we think he wasn't treated fairly. Now, I think that there's a legitimate. I think that there's a legitimate argument here because number one, he was being tried in New York, where he had a negative rating of over 80-something%. So there was no chance he was going to get a fair trial. I think I think I can say, hearing things, if you can just put emotion aside, I know we don't like him, but if you can put things into, it's really true, it's going to be nearly impossible for him to have gotten a fair trial. Also, if you look at the way we Democrats are thinking, we very much are thinking, okay, is this guy so crippled that he cannot run? So they have not misunderstood us. Let's be honest. And then what Ella points out is that at least Marjorie is outspoken. She's able to say what she feels. And also she does have that common touch, which might be one of the factors that makes her attractive to a particular demographic. I don't know what you think, Chuck.
Well, I think certainly to Trump supporters, because those are the hallmarks of Donald Trump. Very outspoken, just straight from the hip, says any outrageous thing he wants. And his supporters apparently love that about him. So I could see where that would trickle down to Marjorie Taylor Greene, where she might have a similar following. Certainly not impossible.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead. We'll do the empath's prayer, and then please send in your questions. We will blitz away when we get the questions and the order. Until then, be sure and check out our amazing merch. Chuck has just demonstrated a beautiful cup. See, these are the great ways that you help to fund and support this wacky channel, including paying my amazing actor here. Isn't he amazing? I got to keep you clean and off the streets. Yeah, ragamuffin. Yeah.
Good luck.
These crazy actors. Yeah, no, I'm just joking.
I know.
No, we're great.
I feel like one of those game show host models, the way they always stroke the product, like on The Price is Right.
You know what? We get,
it's a new car.
Well, you know what? When we start season, I guess this will be season. Will it be season 3 or season? I guess it will technically be the start of season 3, but
I think so. It's season 3.
We have a lot of people that want to advertise, and so in the very near future, you're going to be Ed McMahon for the channel. So I personally think you guys, we have to give a round of applause to Chuck, because Chuck is going to be our spokesperson when we start advertising. I know, but we got to pay the rent. So I mean, you should definitely be practicing. Like, I love Roto-Rooter, or whatever it is. Like, post. Yeah, I don't want to do it. That's your job. You get to be, because you're the actor. I don't want to. I'm
remembering. I'm old enough to remember the Tonight Show back in the 70s when.
I figured that I would give you those jobs. Yeah.
Remember when they used to do the Alpo commercials, and sometimes they couldn't get the dog to eat the food on camera. Didn't
the dog once attack somebody or something? I mean, they had some crazy bloopers.
So. I should look those up on YouTube. I bet there are a lot
and
of
a
those
cigarette
bloopers.
lit on fire. They had a fire once. They did something, and then they put it in the canteen, and they kept going, and then the canteen lit on fire. I mean, they had some crazy things happen. I remember the bloopers; those were incredible. Okay, let's do the.
I want to look for those after the show. Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's do the empath's prayer, and then please, we want to hear from you. Ask us your dying questions, and we'll do what we can to answer them. All right. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say amen. Okie dokie. So let's go back to the basics. Oh, we got a nice little crowd starting to form here. Beautiful. Leah Percosi, good morning. Sending love from Sydney. Hello, Sydney. Great to see you here. Sue Malik is in the house. She said she didn't hear back. Chuck's going to get back to you.
Yes.
Magic Mirror in Australia. We saw that. Wanda is my name. And boys and girls, I'm glad you came. Woohoo! Jen is in the house. Kitty Connell, amazing writer. Check out her work is here. She says that I've always thought that actors to be very empathetic in order to become someone else on the stage. Yeah.
I agree with that. I think that's where genius comes from. For any artist, a writer, an actor, a musician, a dancer, that's where the genius comes from. That's where you rise above human nature. But this is something I find interesting. Coastal Crone said, Virginia resident here. Yes, Southwest Virginia is very red. They seem to be attracted to the party of grievance. Anyway, thank you for backing me up there. Yes. Yeah. My sister was just back there. She lives in Colorado. I live in California. We both grew up in this little town of Southwest Virginia, and she went back there to visit last summer to see a friend. And as soon as she got there, there were Trump bumper stickers on the back of his car, a pro-Trump sign planted in the front of the yard. And my sister just kind of had to, shall we say, bite her tongue and be very polite. Not say what she really wanted to say.
First question coming in from Joel Telson regarding Biden having conflict with Netanyahu and the 3-part peace proposal. Wonder where that came from. I don't know nothing about no peace proposal. Anyway, supposedly there's a 3-part peace proposal that's Israel presented to Hamas and the United States on Thursday. And now Netanyahu is backing up. No, that's not it. I think that what's going on is that it's going from phase 1 ceasefire to phase 2. In phase 2, Hamas has to leave to go to a host country. And that's not, we talk about working out phase 2. Let me tell you what working out phase 2 is. Working out phase 2 is, do you want to live or do you want to die? If you want to live, then you'll take your chances and get to a boat to Algeria or Qatar or whoever's going to take you and live to fight another day. But it's already a done deal. It's already done. And Egypt has been very mute because Egypt has to be mute because they were caught smuggling bombs in. So I think that Netanyahu is not opposed to the Oasis One, by the way. If you look at the conversations between Netanyahu and Elon Musk, when they were beginning to talk about the rebuild, it was all Netanyahu was 100% behind supporting Oasis. It was about the issue for Netanyahu is securing the border between Gaza and Egypt so that this doesn't happen again. So security will be run by Israel at the border, which is not the same as saying we're running Gaza. We're just making sure that the weapons don't come in, and that's what's going to happen. Yeah. Okay. Did you have any comments you want to make about that, Chuck?
I have nothing else to add to that. I think you said it well.
Joel Tilson says the Trump org, Trump's drug addiction. If people have talked about it yesterday, we didn't get to it as much as people had wanted. Do you see? I guess you're a healthcare practitioner. You are a physician's assistant. When you look at Trump's behavior, do you see anything as a healthcare provider without me saying anything that would? Can you talk about that? Can you elaborate what you as a healthcare provider look at that make you suspect this man has a drug problem?
I used to, when he was president, I don't know if you ever watched his live press conferences in the afternoon when they would appear, and he would just go ballistic. Well, that was a nasty question. And he would go off on reporters and he'd act like a petulant little child. It was anything but presidential. And my immediate thought was, is this man on something like crystal amphetamine, cocaine, some kind of uppers? I mean, the man was certainly known for not sleeping very much. We know that from his 3:30 in the morning tweets when he was supposedly sitting on his solid gold toilet and tweeting, so he was probably functioning on very little sleep, doing a lot of amphetamines, uppers. I always thought his behavior was very consistent with that because I've been around people like that.
Right.
Okay. And I don't know if you've been around people who do meth.
No, God, no.
It's a scary, scary drug. And unfortunately, here in Los Angeles, I've known several people who have fallen into that trap. I once, many years ago, had a roommate who had a crystal meth problem, and I know the mood swings. It's like the devil's drug because it makes a person feel euphoric. It makes them feel very sexual, very on top of things for a number of hours, and then they come off of it, and then they go into a black depression, and they tend to get very mean and crazy. So they take more to get themselves back up again, and that's when the behavior really gets crazy. And that, I'm just saying this.
So
off the record.
So what you're no, I really appreciate you, and I respect you as a healthcare provider. So what you're saying is that cycle that you see in amphetamines of rage, paranoia, etc., and the downing effect, you're seeing that in this person. And it's not because of who it is, it's the actual behavior.
I'm saying that because I've seen this behavior firsthand in people I have known. And that was always my gut feeling when I'd watch him going ballistic at these press conferences and all of his crazy, irrational behavior. I don't know. And also some people use it as a diet drug, lose weight. And then certainly Trump he's addicted to invincibility and above it all and on. I can see where that drug would give him that for a while.
Okay, so I guess my first question that people wanted to ask is he currently on drugs? Because that was before. Did he ever get off? So we'll go ahead and we'll do the cards and the pendulum to find out if he's currently is he currently actively using?
Okay, now, Whimsy, that's kind of a loose question because he could be on legitimate prescription medications.
Addictive drugs that he's addicted to. Is he currently using as an addict? Not
addictive drugs.
Not blood pressure medications.
Right. That's why I wanted to know how to phrase that for the pendulum. So is he doing addictive drugs? Is Donald Trump doing addictive drugs? Well, it went to a yes on that one. But it's still kind of loose when we say addictive drugs. But it's a big yes, big yes, big yes, big yes.
I think he's in trouble, yes, and I'll tell you why. Because he's currently on addictive drugs. Because I keep going back to this idea of him having a probation officer, and that part of protocol is testing for drugs, because there's something here about him attempting to defend or fighting for his current prescriptions, which means that when you're on an amphetamine, specifically an amphetamine, which can be dangerous for a criminal because it can lead to violence, you have to justify being on an amphetamine or ADHD medication or anything like that. He's going to have written justification and notes from doctors to be on the level of medication he's currently on. This is like a doctor's note. And look at this. This is the microscope under his drugs. And also he's got police over him. He has to justify his health. I'm thinking absolutely not. He's not going to be. It is going to be brought to their attention, I'm telling you, that Trump is misusing drugs, and that once he is under the control of the state, everything is going to have to be justified, including every pill he puts in his mouth. That's what it looks like to me.
We've had it pointed out about Adderall, and I didn't even think about that because I also had a friend. This is LA. I had a friend who had an Adderall addiction, and it was so bad. There was one time he could not afford to refill his prescription for about 3 days, and he started going into seizures. And people had to call an ambulance and take him to the hospital. That's how dangerous that drug can be. And supposedly Trump does abuse Adderall. So I think this is going to be fascinating because I'm assuming if under parole he has to do all this drug testing, this is going to be made public knowledge. I don't think anything would be kept secret, do you?
You know, I think it's such I'm so grateful for the questions that people send, because these are things I never even think about. But boy, you know, when you put yourself in the shoes of the parole officer building a case, and Four of Pentacles greedy regarding his desire for drugs and the fact that they react with
Yeah.
the policing, man, this guy's not going to get his
Yeah.
drugs. And it also tells me
Oh,
that they've been down this
really?
road before, Mr. Trump, with other people who try to justify tripling up on their amphetamines and everything else. The doctor
Yeah.
has to be, I mean, they are so ready for this guy. He cannot BS them.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Smuggle drugs to him under house arrest?
I know. Especially when he has to have urinalysis done, what, how many, every few days? I don't know how often they monitor these type of things. I imagine if he gets caught, they're going to step up the monitoring. And you know, another thing, if he's under probation, I think he also loses rights to control his own personal finances, doesn't he?
Yes, that was something else that came up in the remote views, was
Yeah.
that his control of money is going to be stripped from him. You know,
Ooh,
so that's
what
pretty
little is
freaking
left, you know?
crazy. Yeah, what little is
Yeah.
left. Okay,
Yeah.
so the questions are coming in the comments again regarding the embarrassing behavior of Marjorie Taylor Greene regarding the hearing in Congress of Fauci. And people want to know, basically, is this kind of behavior something that we can expect going forward? Is she going to be censored? Are there any consequences for this kind of crazy behavior? I'd like to know, because it seems to me, if you're asked to go before Congress, this type of battering and abuse, this is not something you should not be able to treat people like this when you're asked to speak at a
No.
hearing. That's my own personal opinion.
Oh.
What say you, Chuck?
Well, my first thought was how unprofessional it is, how undignified it is. You know, when I was a kid growing up, I know this sounds very naive, but our representatives were supposed to be people we respected. They were supposed to set an example for us. And this woman
Right.
is like crude, she's vulgar, she's crazy, she has no self-control. And I hate the example she sets. That's the first thought. I just always
Right.
just feel embarrassed whenever I watch her. And I would
Okay.
like to think eventually something is going to be done about her. How long can this go on? This, as someone just
Well,
said here, this dreadful woman, you know?
well, let's go ahead and see what the future is of let's throw some cards. What is the future of Marjorie Taylor
Let's see here.
Greene?
I got two that jumped out. Survival and balance. I think she is going to be fighting for her survival, and I think there is going to be a need for balance. It's out of balance right now. This craziness cannot continue to be tolerated. So balance and her own survival is going to depend on that. I almost take that to mean she is going to be out eventually.
You
What do
know
you
what
think?
I see? You know what I see with her? That she's
What?
being used, she's used by the Republicans as a fundraiser for quacks. And that Republicans know
Oh,
that it's like, we know that 20% of our population are quacks. And so we got a quacker here. Okay, Marjorie, you go quack,
yeah.
quack, 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 because she brings in the money. So we know she's a quack. You know she's a quack, but she's a quack that brings in money from other quacks.
Well, she's
She's the
also a
star of the
distraction.
quacks.
Yeah.
She's the queen of
Well,
cups in her cups, cuckoo, cuckoo, and she's the star queen of cups.
mhm,
She's a cuckoo
mhm.
barrel.
Well,
Go
Lindsay,
ahead.
do you
I'm
feel
sorry.
also she's just a good distraction?
I
You know,
think she's a
she much in the
fundraiser,
way
and
Trump was a distraction.
I think that if the Republicans lose her, they lose 30% of their fundraising. And she appeals to the
Yeah,
quacks. And then her opposition is out to get her Knight of Swords. She is on the execution block. Look at that. She's got
yeah.
the scholars and the executioner after her. She's not long for this world. You're
Hmm.
right about that.
Survival and balance. Yeah, yeah.
Hopes and fears, Two of Pentacles. And look at this. She walks away with her cape. She leaves everything behind. Screw you. I'm out of here, you damn rhinos. I do her accent so well.
Yes, you do.
And then
We should have
further
you play
waters
her on
lay
the show.
ahead. Further waters lay ahead. Four of Pentacles. So she's going to go off and do her own thing, right? So, but Four of Pentacles, which leads. That's my Georgia accent. That leads. Excuse me. She's going into a much smaller tunnel though with the Four of Pentacles,
Mhm.
and also her ability to fundraise could be limited with the Four of Pentacles. Leads me to think she's not going to be bringing in the money she used to.
Well, I mean, do you think they're going to muzzle her eventually? They're just going to have to, or I keep wondering how far can she go? I keep wondering how far can she go? She just keeps getting more and more outrageous. Her behavior. I mean, heckling Biden during the State of the Union address. I mean, she's just atrocious, and it's like she's being given permission. Yeah, come on. Let's see how far you can go, honey. Come on, go further, go further. And I wonder if that's part of the game. Like you said, she appeals to the nuts, the quacks, and brings in money.
Well, I mean, let's go back to what the original question was: civil war, right? The question that originally arose that people wanted to know, that started, and this is just one of the cracks of many of the cracks. Are we looking at all-out civil war? And if so, what's that going to look like? Who's going to win the civil war? You know, what do you think?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm just, I mean, we have a nation that, what's 50-50 divided, red states, blue states. I don't know. I mean, we thought that during the Trump era, during when he lost, there was going to be some sort of national revolt, some sort of civil war. I think there was even thought that was going to happen after his convictions, and we certainly saw that did not happen. We had a bunch of people, whining and complaining, like, oh, this is our George Floyd moment and so forth, but no actual violence in the streets.
What about within the GOP? Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry. No, you were going to say, when you said within the GOP,
Yeah, because of the amount of money look, just to keep this guy out of jail is going to cost them a fortune, isn't it?
I would think so. I would certainly think so. But how are they going to keep him out of jail?
I don't know. And then the other question.
You feel he is. You feel he is going to jail, don't you? I know you've predicted that several times.
It's looking really bad. It's looking really bad because of his behavior during trial. Whether or not Mershon is going to show him mercy, he's in a lot of trouble. And they say that his behavior has been so bad, he could be taken into custody early.
Well, that's been pointed out. Initially it was said, oh yes, these are his first convictions and so forth, but it's been brought up. But what about all of his past bad behavior? Like, it's like over 1,700 lawsuits against him right now, and his behavior in court, as you pointed out, and also the way he's shooting off his mouth about the judge. Really bright thing to be doing. The man who's going to be sentencing you, and Trump is purposely bullying him and provoking him. So yeah, this could all come down very badly.
Everyone's asking the same questions. I get text and I get the email, and I know everyone's questions. So we're going as fast as we can. So people wanted to know, why didn't Melania show up? Why didn't she show up during the trial?
Oh, well, I'm looking at that picture. My first thought was, oh, what a happy, charming couple. I mean, even Trump admitted, I think didn't it come up that Stormy Daniels' testimony, he said that they were sleeping in separate bedrooms, even back then after their son Barron was born. I'm remembering the inaugural ball, and when they got up to do the customary dance, the first lady and the president, did you see their body language? The way they were almost standing like a foot apart from each other, like she did not even want to touch him. You could almost feel like she was cringing at the thought of him holding her long enough just to dance with her.
Well, this is from 2 days ago, and people said that she looked like it hurt her to physically be there. Yeah. So We could throw some cards. I don't know how. I mean, do you want to just throw cards on her? I mean, why do you think she wasn't there? I mean,
I'm almost wondering if the money has run out and she knows she has nothing to gain from him anymore, and she doesn't feel a need to put on a show. You know, in the past, it's like she was on the payroll or something. Maybe that's audacious of me to say, but that's kind of what
she
I'm
looks
sensing. It's like
she looks
she
miserable.
she looks like she cannot stand him. You know, she just wants out. That's
Well,
the
that's what
gut
people are
feeling I have.
saying.
She
That's what
wants
people are.
out. I was shocked that she did not file to divorce him after he lost the election, but maybe he kept her on, you know, in the hope of his running again, and he needed her to play first lady again. I don't know what reason she stuck around, but
Maybe to
she wants out.
renegotiate. Let's take a look. Let's see. Because now I'm
Yeah.
curious. This is one of those questions we didn't get to last time, and I just didn't think it was important, but now everyone wants to know. I think
Whoa.
it's a legitimate
Whoa.
question.
I started shuffling three cards jumped right out.
Okay, give it to me, baby.
Okay, I got discontent.
Oh, okay.
I swear they just jumped out. Discontent, decisions, death. I take that to mean, yeah. She's this is over. She wants out. This is over. I think it says the obvious. What do you think?
Yeah, I got the same. I got the same thing.
Yeah.
That they're building a case against the emperor. She wants out. Four of Cups is to reject an offer. You know, maybe we will see. She said to him, "We will see if I'm going to be on the campaign trail. What, you know, you better make it damn good for me. How much money are you going to give me?" And evidently it wasn't good enough. I mean, she needs to walk, but she needs to walk out of there gracefully, I would think. I don't know.
Possibly,
what do you think?
Possibly. I think she's at a point where she doesn't give a damn. She just wants out. I think she's tired of playing the game, what she's had to do all these years. It's like, enough is enough. I'm out of here. You know, that's just what I'm getting. What do you feel, Whimsy?
I think you got it right. And I think that everybody who's been telling me to look, check, you guys had it right. I thought, oh, nah, come on. She ain't walking out the door this week. But it looks like, yeah, she's been walking out the door. She said something in a remote about when her son was 17 that she would fulfill some contract or something. So they must have been due to negotiate the money again. And if he wasn't able to meet her, look, there's no reason for her to stay. I think it's a nightmare marriage. No amount of money would put me in a marriage like that. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. And you have to remember, you know, when she initially entered into the marriage, she had no idea she was just going to be a trophy wife. She didn't know this man was going to run for president and actually win, and she was going to become the frigging first lady of America. This isn't what she signed up for. And hence, when she was first lady, we hardly ever saw her. You know, she would disappear for weeks at a time. And I understand in those first weeks, you know, when she wouldn't even move into the White House, she insisted on staying behind in Trump Tower. Supposedly it was because of Barron. Was that costing something like over $1 million a day in security details at our taxpayer expense?
I think it's all disgusting.
Sickening to me.
I don't get any of this.
I don't either.
Yes.
Just corrupt and immoral.
We have another question coming in. Joel Tilson, thank you so much for your help. People want to know about Hunter Biden. Is he going to be okay? Is he going to be convicted? I mean, what's the story with him?
I feel like they're making him a scapegoat. This is just pure revenge for what was done to Trump. Now they're going after Biden's son. That's the way it seems to me.
Well, they say after a lot of stuff was debunked and disproven, and after the laptop, a lot of stuff got thrown out. So in which case, do they even have a case? That's the question. And if so, what is the case? So let's go ahead and take a look and see if they've got a case against Hunter Biden, and if so, what the outcome
Okay.
will be.
Should we ask it as, do they have a solid case against Hunter Biden? Is that a correct way of
Right.
phrasing
Yeah.
this?
hmm
Do they have a solid case against
And what
Hunter
will,
Biden?
and whether or not he'll be convicted.
Okay. Well, I'm getting no on, do they have a solid case? Will he be convicted? It went to a yes. It's a weak yes, but it's a yes. Like I think he's gonna. I should hold this up, people can see, but yeah, it went to a yes when I asked, will he be convicted? But do they have a solid case against him? See, it goes right to no. So it sounds like he's being framed.
Yeah, it's like a cooperation thing. That's what I got.
Yeah.
He was cooperating fully because there's this cooperation. Empress in the seventh house would mean like he's the treasure trove. He's not. He was cooperating fully against them. He was afraid of going to jail, but the final outcome, Two of Cups, leads me to think that he'll probably get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah. But that would count as a conviction, wouldn't it? Even a slap on the wrist?
Yeah, but it would be, what kind of conviction, really? I mean, it's
I know. Oh, yes. I was just going to say, Roxanne just pointed out, and I couldn't remember specifically, but yes, for firearm possession, he had it for 11 days. It's like they had to really dig to find something on him. That's why I feel like he's being made a scapegoat.
Right. So as we begin to head toward, so as we begin to change things up, moving along here, we could not continue to go on without talking about your favorite celebrities.
They're my neighbors.
Oh,
they are literally my neighbors here in Los Feliz.
Okay, so
Angelina Jolie lives down the road from me, about 5 minutes. She lives in the old Cecil B. DeMille mansion, 32 rooms, gated property. You can't get anywhere near there. And I understand Brad Pitt lives about 5 minutes in the other direction because supposedly he wanted to live nearby where the kids are. So
beautiful.
Yes, they're my neighbors.
Oh, wow. Lovely.
My lovely neighbors.
Well, they have a beautiful daughter. As you know, the first conversation piece, and this is something that a lot of people want to talk about. And I thought, you know what? It was something that came up during coffee talk, and I put it on the back burner, and I thought, gosh darn it, I trust Chuck with my life, and you are a male. And you do love do love ladies and consider them humans.
Yes,
so you don't have, but my question to you is the idea of the eternal boy. This is the conversation that has come up about Brad Pitt, and it's starting to come up about a lot of men that wind up wildly famous. They can be successful in one area of their career, but they remain like children. It's this child or Peter Pan phenomenon. And they say that Brad Pitt has this. And I remembered when I had done a remote on Jennifer Aniston, and I got to be Jennifer Aniston giving advice to Angelina Jolie. And I said to Angelina Jolie, I was Jennifer Aniston, and I said, Brad's a boy. Brad's a boy, and Brad is always going to be a boy, and you've got to accept it. But I thought that when he has children, he's going to be a boy with children. And then when I did the remote, she and the kids had gotten, I don't know if it was Christmas presents or what, but Max and the boys got these Nintendo games for Christmas or something. And then in the vision, I saw Brad was fighting with his own son so that he got to play with them first.
Yeah. 60 years old.
That blew my mind. I got to tell you, Chuck, that blew my mind because I was seeing a child fighting with two other children. I want the Nintendo. I want the toy. I want the Nintendo or whatever the heck the toy was. And it blew my mind. And I remembered being Jennifer Aniston. And the other thing that blew my mind is that Jennifer Aniston accepted him. She accepted that he was a boy. She accepted that he was always going to be a boy. And she accepted that she was never going to have kids with this guy because he's a boy.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
I saw everything. That totally explained
Yeah.
it to me.
Well, I've seen that kind of behavior here in LA. It seems to be these upper tier stars. We've talked about this in other shows, that upper 1% that actually makes it really, really big. It's like they
Right.
feel they make their own rules. It's like my world and the rest of you just happen to live in it. That kind of ego seems to take over. And it certainly seems consistent with that kind of behavior with Brad Pitt. I mean, as I said, the man is 60 years old. And he's
Oh,
like a
wow.
petulant little child, and he's used to having his way. And also, these people they surround themselves with people who don't say no to them. It's yes, yes, yes to everything. So it's like they're rewarded for their bad behavior. And anybody who dares to say no, they're usually cut off pretty quickly. But and then we don't know if they're drugs, alcohol. I can't say. I don't know. But I wonder how much that influences his behavior. I mean, I've heard reports that his children cannot stand him. Didn't their daughter refuse? She took her mother's name.
This
And
Shiloh, I put a picture of her because she has
yeah,
had a name change, and I was going to talk to you
yeah,
about that. Well,
yeah.
explain to the audience what happened. Explain to them.
Well, she doesn't. She wants to disassociate herself from her father. She does not even want his name anymore. That's the way I understand it. Her allegiance is to her mother. She just wants, I guess, to be Shiloh Jolie. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Where before they hyphenated Jolie Pitt.
I just think it's
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
It is
So,
heartbreaking.
yeah. So now this is coming out about him. And then the other thing came out. We can go ahead and switch to the next boy because it's all about boys. Isn't it about, what did you say about the upper echelons? They don't have to grow up. Is that what it is?
Well, they get to make their own rules, because they have so many people around them who do not say no. And usually when it's that upper 1%, these are the big stars who make a lot of money for the studios, for the producers, so forth. A lot of people benefit from them. So as long as there's a lot of money, yeah, people are just going to keep supporting this bad behavior.
Well, when I heard about, and the reason why I wanted to talk about perpetual boys and this idea of Peter Pan syndrome, and the fact that now is not like the old days. People are calling out this personality disorder. If you have Peter Pan syndrome and you refuse to grow up, the world is now calling you out on it. I wanted to also mention Prince William, has also been accused of having like a Peter Pan syndrome thing going on, that he refuses to grow up, that he's cruel, he's abusive to his wife. Some say he's been verbally abusive. They also say that he's childlike. He doesn't want to take care of his kids. He's basically abandoned his family and gone off to day drink at the pub. Do you think that that's another example of the same kind of BS, or I don't know? What's your opinion?
I would imagine his position in the royal family, he probably is coddled in similar ways. A lot of people don't say no to him. I mean, this is someone who's supposed to be the future king of England. So I'm sure he does get away with a lot of bad behavior. Much like we were talking about with Brad Pitt. It's similar dynamics. It's that same kind of upper echelon, as you put it.
Well, it makes me
above
also
it all.
want, right. And I think that also brings me to the question, is it curable? If somebody, I mean, like, I'm beginning to, just from the descriptions I've heard of Brad Pitt, yay, my toy, yeah, fighting with his kids, Matt. I mean, come on, that's mental illness. Is this even curable?
That kind of bad behavior? Well, first of all, if a person is not willing to even admit they have a problem, that's a very tough person to, shall we say, cure of a psychological disorder like that. I don't know if he's willing to even acknowledge that. In fact, what does he have to gain? If his life is working for him in his mind.
And what's been happening now is that it seems to me like the world is just tired of it. Are these the kids? Well, did Trump make us tired of this? Did Trump make us tired of boys being brats?
He certainly
Are
made me tired of it. I think a lot of us got burned out by that kind of obnoxious behavior, especially with
and
Trump when it was thrown in our faces every day. Was our
right. So
president.
okay. So what was fun? So what we thought was funny, say, 10 before Trump got in office, we could laugh at it because we didn't take it seriously, right? We didn't take childish
No,
boys being in charge of anything. I mean, it was not.
no.
And maybe now
Sometimes
we don't have. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, sometimes I don't think Trump even thought he was going to be president when he ran. I think he was probably as shocked as anybody when he won.
Yeah, but I think now we just don't want to see spoiled brats anymore. We don't want to see men behaving like they're 12-year-olds having.
No,
It's not funny anymore. This kind of
no.
behavior is not funny anymore.
In,
Sasha Baron Cohen also, he's got
mhm.
his head on the executioner's block in Hollywood. Here's another one called out for bad behavior, childish, making female actors uncomfortable, inappropriate
Yeah.
behavior, etc. Any surprises there?
Well, this is the sort of thing that does surprise me a little because I've met Sasha Baron Cohen on numerous occasions. He used to come into our store, and I mean, just when I talked to him, he was always very polite. He seemed like a very centered, grounded man, very different from his public image. His public image is just incredibly outrageous, but in person, I have to admit, I liked him. So to hear all of these awful stories about him, yeah, it does surprise me a little, but yet knowing, like what we've been saying about this upper league, people on the A list, that upper 1 or 2% that make it big, it shouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
Certainly his
it's
public image is such, the characters he plays. I got to tell you, whenever I would watch one of his movies like Borat, or what was that other one where he played the male model or something,
uh,
I just got this yucky feeling. He
yeah,
made me feel bad. Like I wanted to take a shower after the movie. I
right.
just thought there was such cruelty in the way he treated people in his movies. So I always got negative energy from his films. So I was shocked when I actually met him and found I liked the guy. I thought, now,
Right.
what's going on here?
Well, people are complicated, and I think but I
Yeah,
also think that we've gotten to a point in our evolution where we just cannot tolerate it anymore. Like Elon Musk is the
no,
same one. He's doing some great things in terms of like helping children in Gaza, helping the kids get to Dubai. Like there's some Oasis programs, but at the same time, there's
yeah.
this emotional immaturity with this type of an individual that the world is just done with it.
I
I
mean,
can think of a ton. I can think of a ton of actors and people that have that aspect. Like I just mentioned Elon Musk, but Donald Trump also just kind of emotional,
mhm.
immature, too much power in the hands of people who may not have the emotional maturity to handle it.
Yeah, my feeling is cruelty is never acceptable. Bad
Right.
behavior, immaturity. It's a major turnoff. I'm sure for most of us, and certainly speaking for you, I think for myself, for you, I think we're fed up with it. We've seen it. We've seen it. You used to live here in LA. We used to work together. You've seen it firsthand, just like I have.
I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed by
No,
fame. I'm impressed by kindness. Because we've seen it all, Chuck. I think we are truly jaded.
something, when I first moved out to LA in the 80s, I was very naive, and I used to think these were the people I was going to want to emulate and look up to and admire. And then I started meeting them, working in retail and that type of thing. And I found so many people just so neurotic, insecure, and unhappy. I don't think I've ever seen so many unhappy people. And I thought, I don't envy these people at all. So that was a big education for me.
But also the psychosis of emotion. When you're so emotional, I think the emotional maturity of a 4-year-old in some cases. I mean, like here, Diddy is another one. What do
Oh
you think
yeah.
his level of emotional maturity is? A 4-year-old, a
Oh,
5-year-old. And when you're
that's
4 or
being
5
generous,
years
probably.
old, yeah, and you can have whatever you want, all the drugs, all the sex, all the women, all the money.
Oh yeah.
I
All the
mean, I
toys you want.
see I see a 4-year-old who's been caught. That's a
Hmm.
personality disorder. Don't you
Yes, it is
think?
a personality disorder. Most definitely
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the thing to meditate on is that we're now saying we're done with this type of personality. And yeah, I think that's what's going on.
It's like what we've been talking about in general about the old Hollywood seems to be dying off. It's like
Right.
these people who were once big A-list stars, I see where the public is getting tired of it and not admiring them so much, because that was always the key to what made a movie star a movie star. It was somebody people wanted to
Grace.
look up to. They wanted to emulate. They wanted to vicariously be that person. So we're seeing
Right.
people now. These are people you don't want to be. At least I would hope you would not want to be these people.
Yeah. Well, did you have
Yeah.
fun today? Did you have a nice show?
Yeah. Oh, I always have fun with you, Whimsy. Everybody out there. I
Uh,
love doing this
and
show.
did you all have a good time with the hour? Did you all have a good time? Yeah, you had
Yeah.
fun with
Well,
Chuck
the
and me. We
hour,
tried to get to all your questions, and
yeah. Hour went by
they
very
asked great.
fast.
The hour always goes fast with you, Chuck. You're a lot of fun.
Was it? You're a lot of fun too.
Yes, of
Look, it's
course,
just
of
like when we
course.
used to work together, when we used to get in trouble for talking too much at work.
Yes, yes. Well, now we get paid. This is our job now, so it's okay.
That
All
we're having
right,
the last laugh.
everyone. Chuck, you've got announcements. Please make your announcements before we
Oh, yes.
close.
Please like and subscribe to my channel, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles. And I do a live stream every Monday, Chuck's Captivating Chat, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Talk about old Hollywood. I throw in I Love Lucy, Lucille Ball, just all kinds of great stories. We have a lot of fun with that. So that's my announcement.
And for personal readings, to hire you as a psychic, how do they do that?
You can send me a message on my YouTube channel, Chuck's Captivating Chronicles, or my email, which is, if you can see my name at the bottom of the screen, it's just Dransfield Chuck, one word, @gmail.com. Either way, you can reach me. And I'm going to look for that email I somehow missed from one of the viewers there. I apologize for that. Life's been kind of hectic the last few days.
Awesome. And if you'd like to get into a tarot card reading with me, or to see me as a naturopathic doctor and medical medium, my information is below. They have your information, and now you have my information. Okay, so be kind to all, so that all be kind to you. We're out of here. We'll see you next time. Peace out, everyone. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Thank you so much.